It is definitely a red flag.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
This whole thing has shown me there's 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides to every story.
Garrett, how are you doing?
Good.
I'm excited to talk with you because now you can let it all out. There's no embargo. You can say whatever you want.
I got a lot to say.
I mean, the biggest revelation for at least you and Taylor that came out of the reunion is that you are together. You guys got married and you stuck by it for the year you made it.
Yeah.
It must feel good that now you can get your relationship, your marriage out there in the open.
Yeah, you have no idea. This whole year, it's honestly people have asked me, has it been tough to keep it a secret? It's like, no, the people that matter, we've told, and they're a part of it and part of our lives. But it does feel good, especially the past month. This past month has been tough, but it's been fun playing the game. But I'm ready to go out there and be able to go to dinner with her and do all the things.
I was going to ask, what are you most excited about now that the relationship, marriage is out in the open?
Probably, honestly, just traveling. We're talking Portugal right now. We would love to go to Lisbon and just probably New York again. We got to go to New York for Fashion Week, but we were only there for a couple days.
Yes.
So let's go enjoy the city and relax.
Which we got to talk about Fashion Week because you were a part of Fashion Week, and then the internet went wild because they're like, look at this glow up, the hair, the fashion. Is this married life glow up? What is it?
Yeah, I've always had a latent interest in fashion, and I met with this designer and we became good friends, and he invited me up. This is his here. It's all vintage upcycled fabrics. This is a over 100-year-old vintage coverlet, and we became close. He invited me for Fashion Week. It just all kind of worked out in the timing and everything, and Taylor was like, yeah, I'll go be the Instagram wife and take pictures and stuff. So it just worked out, and I grew the hair out. It's always something I wanted to do, and I'm married now. I'm going to take some risks.
I'm married. I'm going to take risks now.
I guess it's the backwards thinking, but that's what it felt like.
Which is fun, though. It's obvious that you are glowing. It's obvious that she's glowing. Right. What has been your favorite thing about the past year with Taylor?
I think I've said it before, too, when we were in the experience or the experiment. It was my best days were just the days that we weren't doing anything. We were just hanging out at home. And that really is it, is the everyday, the day-to-day stuff with her, just getting up and doing breakfast and coffee and the little moments in the kitchen. And it really does, it's kind of a cliche to say I'm marrying my best friend, but it really does feel like my best friend. And it's been really cool just getting into the groove with her and just living life together.
Now, though, what has been the hardest thing? Because you guys did jump into a marriage. It was quick. You didn't you did know each other, but then
we did it the hard way.
You did it the hard way. You did it in an interesting way. So what has been the hardest part of about this?
Well, immediately it is a bit of a culture shock. You're going from, for me in particular, going from single for 6.5 years to all of a sudden a screeching 180 to where you're now married and you're living life together every single day. And so it is a bit of getting used to it, and I'm still figuring out how to be just a partner, a boyfriend to Taylor, let alone a husband, and you're doing this all so quickly. And so there's a lot of change, but luckily she's extremely patient, and you have to be patient with one another to get through this. So, really it's been beautiful, it's been wonderful. I think our biggest challenge, though, has been the bi-coastal figuring that out. Are we San Diego? Are we Fredericksburg? Are we DC? What are we doing? And so we've spent the past year working through that, and we're going to DC now. We're really excited about it. It's kind of ironic, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
But if you guys are both excited about that, how did you guys get to that decision? Because that is a big decision.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so we talked leading up to it about eventually moving to San Diego. Over the past year, we spent a lot of time in San Diego and away from Fredericksburg. And that was something I hadn't done ever. And so I started to, as time went on, I was noticing, I was feeling really, I'm not around my friends and family. Just I felt really detached from them, and it wasn't a good feeling. So I shared that with Taylor, and we talked through it and worked through it this summer. And we said, well, maybe a good first step for the next 5 years or whatever it is. Let's do something that's a bit more manageable. She's familiar with DC already. She was living there for a long time. She has friends. It's close to home for me. So let's try DC as our next step, and we're excited. Yeah, we're excited. Well,
I'm excited for you guys. I do want to talk about the reunion because you guys didn't really have any drama, which was to be expected, but there was a lot of drama that went down.
I didn't notice.
You didn't notice.
It was rough, yeah.
Nick and Hannah specifically, but you were very much in Nick's corner, supporting him throughout that confrontation. Tell me why you had his back.
It's all tough. So I give everyone grace here going into this. You're living a very public life now. You're getting a lot of heat for the past year, and so or for the past month. And so it's really hard to figure out how to react to that, especially when you just saw the last couple of episodes. So everyone's feeling some type of way. So I give everyone grace for reacting the way they did. But at the same time, like, I felt as though Nick was very patient throughout the entire experiment, as we saw on camera. And at the reunion, the same thing. You tried to defend Hannah and say, we're different, ready to move on. But we still wanted to, like, go at Nick. And it just didn't feel... It felt a bit manufactured. It felt a bit performative, and I just didn't enjoy it. It's not a good feeling for me. I felt as though if we're really here for growth and learning, there's a better way to go about it than what we're doing here. So it just was frustrating to watch, and I was squirming a bit, and I afterwards still like, man, I probably shouldn't have said anything, but it's just frustrating to watch that happen. Did he ever talk to you about Hannah's looks? What's interesting is, so right out of the reveal, pretty much every guy is like, it's an explosion, and you don't even know. You forget what they look like 2 days later. Truly, right? Ask anybody. It's really strange, and so everybody was like questioning like how they looked and all of these things. So I think everybody kind of had those feelings. But from that moment on, every time I spoke to Nick face to face, he always had nothing but nice things to say. And truly, I was convinced he was in love with her and was attracted to her and was into it from every conversation I ever had with him after Cabo. So, What about the notebook of it all, though? Because it is strange. It's a little suspicious. He says, he wants to be, he's manifesting being the most famous person off of Love is Blind. That gives me like, ooh, red flags. It's definitely a red flag. It's not a good look. He says it's 90-day goals thing. I don't really know. It's kind of hard to pick up like when the timeline of things, because it sounds like Hannah said it was like during the show. He says it was before, like way before. I don't know. I really don't. But it definitely isn't a good look. So I don't. I think it's very easy to throw that whip out there on people of like, you're here for the wrong reasons. Right. And it's very easy to throw that around, but it's also a really heavy accusation. Only Nick knows what he was here for. Because do you think he was there for the right reasons? Whether he went into it for the right reasons or not, I do genuinely feel like Nick was bought into it once he got into it. Okay. Also, Ashley and Tyler, they cleared the air with the whole kid drama that has ensued on social media. Are you surprised that they are still together? No, they had such a strong bond, and I'm not following the social media craze. It's for my own benefit. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't either. I'd be like, no. But I know Ashley's an extremely intuitive person, and she's also going to like defend herself. So I imagine she asked Tyler all the right questions that America's asking now. I can only assume that she did. And if something smells off, she's going to dig into it. So I'm sure that they're having really tough conversations and getting into it. And if they're still together, Tyler must be being honest with her, and she must be, agree. So I think that Tyler was right. He only owes an explanation to her, and she's going to get her explanation, and they're going to understand. And if they're still together, then that means they've worked through this. So I hope that the extra pressure that the public eye puts on them doesn't cause more turmoil, because they are a great couple. Looking back, would you have changed anything about the journey? Because you also did you watch all the episods, or were you one of the people that were I'm not watching, don't let me know? I definitely skipped through a lot of it, but I caught most of it for sure. Would I change anything? No, because I look at where I'm at today and where I'm at with Taylor, and I feel great. Like I wouldn't want to risk going back and do anything differently. Taylor, I'm so excited to talk with you because the news is finally out there. You and Garrett are still together. Yep. Thank God. I don't think anyone's surprised, though. That's no one's surprised, I don't think, but we did get a lot of messages that it's like, we think we'll never believe in love again, or love is dead, or thing, and we're like, no pressure. No pressure. Honestly, no pressure, because now you guys have to also stay together for ever. Ever. Well, that was always the plan. Yes, of course. How does it feel, though, to have your marriage out there, no more secrets or hiding? Because I would imagine that was probably a little tough, especially once, everyone knew who you were. Yeah, I mean, we moved to Garrett's hometown, which is a smaller town of Fredericksburg, and it's been lovely, but it is a smaller town. And so it's been harder to hide there in some ways, just because it's probably the most exciting thing that's happened there since the Civil War. So I've been wearing
baseball cap, like mask, sunglasses to go grocery. And so, yeah.
That is so funny.
But we are really excited to like share our story with everyone and just be able to celebrate it like a normal married couple.
Like a normal married couple.
For us, like it's been so weird not having each other on social media and celebrating that. And that's like that's not really important to us, but it's going to be this new fun thing.
Right.
That we get to do together.
I love that. I know at the reunion, because we already watched the reunion, you guys said, you're like, I'm just excited to follow each other. And I was like, that's so true, though.
Yeah. I mean, usually he'll post a story. He's like, did you see my story? And I'm like, no. And then like he'll have to show me, and it's just like, it's so funny.
That is so, so funny. And we got to talk about his glow up, which honestly kind of gave it away that you guys were still together, because I don't know if you saw all the memes and stuff.
I did, but it's funny. It's all him. Like he might give me credit, but he genuinely is just was interested in it. So I was like, it's so funny that it all turned out that way.
No, that is so funny, because everyone was like, they have to be together, because this is a married like husband's glow up, and it's all thanks to Taylor. So that's funny.
They're like, thank you, women in STEM.
That is so funny. The big news, though, that came out of the reunion is that you guys have decided to move back to DC. That must have been a tough decision for you.
It was definitely tough, and luckily it is a compromise that I have friends, family, a career there, and it wasn't that far of a leap. And for us, when we plan too far in advance, I think it becomes murky, but when we take it one step at a time, anything's possible. Like, totally. We didn't think we'd be here a year ago.
Also that. Like, who knows where you guys will be in a year?
Literally no idea.
That's the beauty of moving and new things and new avenues in life, because you just don't know. As long as you guys are together and you're solid, like, who cares where you end up?
Yeah. And that's something that's just so different than having a boyfriend.
Yes.
When you have a husband and you combine two different lives, he's your number one priority, and you figure it out together. So I have a lot of faith that we could get there one day.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I love that. Well, we got to talk about the reunion, because there was a lot of drama. Not from you two, though, which no one was surprised about. But how did you kind of man it? You're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, all this is going down. Like, what was going through your head?
Well, I had my armor on,
which was so freaking cool. So cool.
I think for Garrett and I, it was really nice to see everyone fall in love, like on camera, or on the show. And then obviously people break up, and breakups are messy, and you're waiting a year to talk about this stuff. I would have hoped that some of the people talked about it before getting to the reunion, but I can't blame them. If I was in the same position, maybe I would have handled it the same way. But it was a lot. Like, I think Garrett and I were just kind of playing like ping pong.
Just like, what? What? Garrett did get vocal, though, when Nick and Hannah, all of that confrontation went down. And he said that Nick was really patient with Hannah. Do you agree?
I think Nick was incredibly patient with Hannah. And I think to a fault that Hannah maybe thought that there's no way that I could, harp on this guy and he's going to take it, and he's genuinely there. But I think Nick was he was really in love with Hannah, and it was maybe a hard whole situation to handle, and then it to come out publicly. So I think it was hard for Garrett, being friends with Nick, not sitting literally next to him, to not maybe defend him, because Garrett's just a really great guy. And yeah.
I do want to ask you about the Notebook, though, because I was feeling the same way, and then the Notebook bombshell came out, and I was like, uh-oh, I don't know how I feel about Nick now, because he said in his notebook, he manifested that he wanted to be the most famous person off Love is Blind, which, as a viewer, I'm like, oh, that's red flags, all the way. Was he actually there for the right reasons? As his friend, what do you say about that?
I would say that I think that the Notebook, he said, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, he wrote it before going on the show. I didn't know what it meant to go on Love is Blind. I never in a million years would have expected the experiment to be as deep and serious, and you really do take it seriously once you're in it. And so I think it could have definitely surprised him, and it evolved over time. But writing that in a notebook, yeah, he probably had ulterior motives going into it, but you fell in love with this person, they met your parents, you're planning a wedding. Like, I don't think Nick exactly took that lightly or seriously. I don't know, but I do want to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I could see why Hannah was really hurt by that and make a different decision. So, this whole thing has shown me there's 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides to every story.
So true. Yeah. Like, so true. Because I don't think they got any resolution at the reunion, but, like, it is what it is.
A lot of exes don't.
Right. And that's why you're exes.
And you learn from something and you move on.
Move on.
You just don't usually do it on national television.
Which adds so much to it. So much to it. Another big thing that happened at the reunion was Tyler and Ashley. They are still together, and they cleared the air on all the kid drama that's been unfolding on social media. Are you surprised that they're still together?
No, I'm not surprised. You know, going through this experiment and the process of getting married, it's not like regular life.
Right.
It's fast, it's hard, it's quick. You have to be able to, like, you've really kind of trauma bonded in a lot of ways over that.
Yeah.
And I think Ashley asked all the questions that, I don't think that was the first time she's asked those questions to Tyler. We've been in this for a year. I trust Ashley's smart, driven. Like, I trust that she's been doing her due diligence on the whole thing. So I'm not surprised that she stood by her man.
It's so funny, though, because everyone on social media has said that you got the one catch on Love is Blind and that all the other guys were not the greatest catches. Would you agree?
I think I'm very lucky to have found Garrett, and he's my perfect match. There's someone for everyone, and obviously, like, I think Garrett and I were put in this experiment to find each other, so that's so special and great. And hey, shout out Netflix for helping me find my husband, because I wasn't doing it well in the real world.